There are at least 80 countries where homosexual activity is illegal. And in the following countries, death penalties are imposed: Iran, Mauritania, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Yemen, Nigeria, and Somalia. So quite a large range worldwide. In the U.S., as of August this month, 3 U.S. states allow same-sex couples to enter into marriage: Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Iowa. The 3 additional states are scheduled to begin granting same-sex marriage rights next year: Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. In 9 other U.S. regions, civil unions or domestic partnerships are available to couples of same sex, often carrying the same entailments as marriage, but under a different name, such as civil unions, etc. However, they apply only under state law, not recognized by other states. So there are obvious limitations so you're looking at the United States countrywide. General arguments for same-sex marriage, and this is essentially within the U.S. Marriage is a fundamental constitutional right by precedent of written Supreme Court of the United States opinions. And that is what, in fact, the current challenge on Prop 8 is based on. The attorneys, David Boies, who prosecuted Microsoft back in '99, and Ted Olson, who was essentially a Republican, strong Republican attorney, have crossed the aisle and have united on this issue to challenge Prop 8 on constitutional grounds. The other main argument for is that human rights, individual liberty, and equality under the law, essentially American principles, are not granted to gay citizens in the sense of marriage rights. The right of personal autonomy to make personal and intimate decisions without unwarranted government intrusion falls under the pursuit of happiness principle in the Constitution. The general arguments against, and we've heard these recently in the Prop 8 campaign, there is a perceived societal impact of same-sex marriages in the sense that legalization might open the door for legalization of polygamy and other currently illegal sexual relations. That was a strong overtone in the proponents of Prop 8. Also, recognition of same-sex marriage was erode religious freedoms. And I'm going to stop looking at the words right now. I actually pulled this clip off of YouTube that I would like to play. This is from a representative of the Mormon Church, a guy named David Bednar, who's representing the Mormon Church and trying to describe their opposition. So let me pop over to 130.
Is that if marriage is defined?
Hang on, let me get it. Yeah, what I'm doing now is letting it load up. letting it buffer a little bit here. Okay, so let's see if this plays out here.
As a relationship between two.
Here, what I could be doing is having a problem with the actual internet connection. So let me put that up. What the Mormon Church was? Here's what I found out while I'm setting this up. I think you, Sarah, we were talking about this on one of our earlier shows. The Mormon Church, and you were the first one that told me this, that they had such a huge influence. What I read since then was that something like 45% of the pro-Prop 8 funding came from Utah, the Mormon Church.
LDS.
The LDS,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
let me say that again so everybody heard me. Utah, LDS. Got it? Good.
That is a huge percentage. In what is... and we'll get to this later. It was the largest funded political...
Second largest political campaign after the presidential race.
That's right, in 2008. Okay, you got it down. That is an astounding figure. Okay, let's see if we got this queued up.
How much money does that actually involve?
40 million on the side of the pro Prop 8, and I think 43 million.
About 20 million, wasn't it?
It was.
No, I thought it was 20 million
It
each.
was about 40 million on each side. I've got
I thought
the
it was
figures
total.
later.
Is it?
Yeah, Joseph.
I could be wrong. I'm pulling from memory.
Percentage of 40. You said it was 45%, right?
It was 45% of all of that 40 million was funded by the
By the Mormons, yeah,
about
right.
nearly 20 million. Say 18 million. Say.
Yeah, about 18 million.
Okay, let's try to play this.
If marriage is defined as a relationship between two of the same gender, there can be a deep
All right.
tolerance.
All right. He's going to be delayed here. Let me reload the page.
Let me just fill a little bit of dead air by
Go
saying, yeah, really, go ahead. Just by saying that. Well, never mind. Go ahead, lady on YouTube. No, go ahead.
I got to
Play
wait
it.
until it gets to 139.
Get out of here, you. I'm sorry, I'm being bugged by my child here.
Go ahead.
My child, who is the product of a what would now be called unethical marriage. For those who don't know my background, I wish you'd play the video because I just completely lost my train of thought through all the interruptions.
No, that's okay. It's loading up. It'll be.
Am I feeling dead air here, or am I making a point? I'm not entirely sure.
The Mormon thing was what was striking is that I didn't see direct, like Mormon advertising.
It wasn't from the church, right?
Fund.
Right. It was within the churches. It wasn't the LDS as a whole that actually paid for this. The parishioners were actually encouraged to do so individually, sort of skirting the IRS regulations, but not necessarily breaking the rules. So, there were some lawsuits back and forth, and at this point, I believe that none of the lawsuits had actually been taken to court. A lot of them had been dismissed. So on that basis that, this was not coming directly as a mandate from the church. It was not financial backing from the church. It was individual LDS members who, again, remember belonging to a church that is trying to impress other sects of Christianity, saying, look, we're not polygamist anymore. To me, it's a deflectionary tactic. So
I wonder if their donation counted toward the 10% tithe.
I thought they took more than that, actually. I mean, in practice, they take more than that. I mean, what they put down on paper is not necessarily what happens in practice.
Like the minimum. Yeah.
The Mormons are actually very similar to the Scientologists in that way. So.
Wow. Okay, here, we're going to line up this guy. Now, this particular clip, let me just preface it here. He's talking about tolerance. Basically, this is they used to call him a Mormon apostle, David Bednar, talking to a group of young people. They're anywhere from 19 to 25 years old, asking him questions. And the subject of tolerance comes up. And he's essentially saying that if we tolerate gays, then that's going to lead to less tolerance of Mormons. So
of those who would intolerate gays.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. Let's not do that.
Well, I need to listen to
Two of the same gender. There can be a decreasing tolerance for our beliefs as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This very label of bigotry from people who don't want to be labeled would likely be used more frequently and with even greater intensity. So one of the potential consequences growing out of this is that we may find a decreasingly tolerant environment for our beliefs as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay, here's what apparently is the zero-sum argument of tolerance. Apparently, God has only allocated a certain amount of tolerance to everybody. And if you use it toward gays, well, then it has to come away from someone else. I think that's the logic.
Can I just throw something out there? And it's funny because the first thing that came out of his mouth was he was referring to gender. Anybody who knows anything about gender studies understands that gender and sexuality are two completely separate issues. Even when it comes to physical sex, those are two separate issues. Gender is a social construct. And for those who don't know, again, I am a transsexual woman. I was born male. And